Well, both Jess and I grew up in Christian families and in the church, and thankfully we were taught that giving to the Lord was something that we should give cheerfully, and we should give out of the abundance of our faith in Him. But once we became married and we started getting our first paychecks as a couple, we had to really make some hard decisions, and that's where rubber meets the road when you have to decide, are we going to give and how much are we going to give? And in those early years specifically, of course, it's very difficult to give anything because you're not sure if you're going to make it. And you have to say to the Lord, are we truly putting our trust in you? And I heard a quote years ago that you finally trusting in the Lord when you trust God financially. And it was in those moments that we just prayed through and decided that we were going to have a first fruits principle in our giving. And instead of whatever we had in the moment, we would give right off the top. And that brought so much peace to both of us, because even in our spending and our budgeting, we were making sure that the Lord came first before we spent any of the money that God gave to us. And we realized that your theology truly does matter. What you believe about God is so important. If you don't believe God owns everything and has everything, then you're gonna have a scarcity mindset. And the more you believe God owns and possesses everything, and He's a good God, and He wants to give to His children, He will provide for His children, the more you believe that theology, the more you're gonna have faith and it'll be practiced.
So the more we prayed about it and focused on some scripture like Philippians 4:19, that basically says, God's going to supply all of our needs. He knows what we need more than we need ourselves. It kind of becomes a trust thing. Do I trust Him? Do I trust that, once I give the money that I don't think I have to the church and to others, is He still going to meet the needs that I have for me and my family?
With the revelation that everything is His anyways, we want to make sure that we are stewarding it the best we can. And we bring our children into those conversations, even encouraging them to be generous with what God has given them, although it might be small.
We all have experienced giving, and the joy that comes when you give is just amazing. And as parents, I have just, one of the biggest joys in my life has been to teach our kids to love God through giving to others. And the joy that we see in their lives when they do give is just so worth it. And whether it's our 6-year-old who decided to take one of 3 of his dollar bills to tape it on a piece of paper and hand it to our elderly neighbor, or our 10-year-old who saved up money and decided to use some of it willingly, even though we told her she didn't have to buy her sister a birthday gift, was just such a blessing and just a highlight for us so far when it comes to teaching our kids about how to give.
So if you're a couple or an individual and you're on the fence wondering, should I take the leap? Should I give above and beyond what I feel like I have? Should I step out in faith and do that? We would both say, absolutely. That God is going to grow your faith in incredible ways, that you're going to see spiritually inside of you that muscle grow, and you're going to see God provide for you. We both love Philippians 4:19, and it reminds us that God is going to supply every one of our needs, and He does that not through our riches, but through His riches, according to His riches, and He does that for His own glory. And we know that when we are acting in obedience to Him and being generous, it comes from His riches. And everything God has given us, we should be willing to give back to Him, especially a portion of that. So we have seen God bless in our family. We've seen Him bless in our own faith as a couple. We've seen Him bless even in our children. And it's one of the ways that God is discipling us and is so kind to us to grow our faith personally.